Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Ruler School. Good to have you all here. Welcome to stream coverage for WGPQ Minneapolis, hosted by Games and Geek here in Northfield, Minnesota. I am Jeremy Franklin, DMO73, as always, and I'm joined today by
Colin Tooley.
Colin from TCG Scrubs. What's up, buddy? My hair is making a crazy mess.
I'm pretty excited for today.
We have a pretty full house. I'm thinking, we're still waiting on player meeting to get started. So that's going to be like the key piece here to find out how many players we have. Let's see. This house is very full.
This is a lot of players.
This is probably around the lines of 90 to 100 players, which is awesome. Which is about what we expected kind of to be here, but it's still really great. So for those of you who are in the chat and who are watching, two things as always that I like to ask at the beginning. First off, if you can give us a quick audio check. We did an audio check on our end. We're pretty sure it sounds great, but it's always helpful to hear what you guys are hearing. And two, if you can go ahead and share out the live stream. That is super important today. I want to make sure that we get a ton of people watching. Share it out to your personal pages, all that kind of stuff.
If most people have pages for their locals,
just share it out.
Austin and all that.
Yeah, we want to try to get a huge crowd in here. And then, of course, if you feel like supporting the channel, there's all the links down below to be able to check it out, like a membership and all those other things. You can get access to those cool emojis like Brandon has used, our little Priscia cheer. So what we're kind of expecting in terms of meta, right? We know that Gil's probably going to be here. We know that Hanzo's probably going to be here. We know that there is Kirik. Kirik is very popular in this region. Lucifer, probably some take on machines. And then maybe some other things. I don't know. What do you think? What else do you think might show up?
I think, and that's about right. That sounds about right. I think there's a good chance. Well, we're at the point where we're getting close to where the next set's coming out, or this is where the next set would have come out. So the meta's kind of settled down a bit.
Sure.
But it's also the perfect opportunity. Everyone's pretty comfortable in what they're doing to come out with something sort of new and roguish.
For sure.
So that's what I'm hoping to see. I think we'll probably see some dark decks try and make their way out. Well, obviously it would just be Lucifer. It's the only dark deck really. I think that's viable at this point. But I think it'll probably be just variance on what we've seen before.
I imagine we'll see some white, so probably, Brunhild, right? I didn't mention that before. I did see some people sleeving up white decks. The other thing that I'm interested about is we actually have Jean-Paul from Germany is here today with his girlfriend. So JPK was like, you know what? I did pretty well last time. I wanted to come to a major event in the United States. I ended up winning it. Let's go try and win another one. So he is here today, and who knows what he is playing.
Yeah, what was the last event he was at?
The last event he did was, what was it? It was Collinsville, I think. That's what I thought last season. Yeah, Collinsville last season. And that was back when he was playing Sherry. He played Blue Sherry.
That's right.
Yep, that was back when he played Blue Sherry. And that was kind of the first instance of Blue Sherry actually really being impactful in the United States. It was the right call. So do you think he'll be running it like a different type of ruler, or will he use a ruler everyone's been using but a new variation? So that'll be the big trick. So JPK is a very good player, so it's a question, and he's a very good deck builder, and he definitely likes making very interesting decks. So it'll be a matter of if he decided to take a ruler that's very popular and tweak it to be able to win, or if he wanted to try to just play something off the wall, completely new. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how he does. Ultimately, this meta is, the powerhouses that I think we're going to see is Gil is probably going to be a powerhouse in the hands of a good player. I know our round one match is going to be Aaron Miles, and he's playing Gil. Gil in the hands of a good player is a very strong deck. You also know that, Kirik, I think, can make a lot of impact here. And then Lucifer obviously made a lot of waves in the last event, so it's a matter of if Lucifer will continue to make waves in this one.
Yeah, Gil's an interesting one because usually you have a deck and you have your different shades of hey, if you're a good player, it'll do this good, and the shades go slowly depending on how good you are as a player. But with Gil, it's here, and then it just drops as soon as you are below a certain skill level with that deck specifically. You have to be extremely familiar. Obviously, Aaron, and it will be perfectly fine with it, so we'll probably see him do super good with it. Whereas even if we see a lot of Gil at an event, a very small percentage of that would make it through.
Yeah, for sure.
But
So one of the, like, estimate on player size, in terms of seeing what this room has in it, I imagine we've broken 90 players. Like, this feels like, I know that they had 80 players pre-registered for this event. You're not going to be able to count it, Colin, from where we're
I was trying to see how many people are at a table, and it looks like we got 16 people at a table, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Player meeting looks like we're going to get started here in just a little bit. It hasn't happened yet. And round 1 feature match is going to be Aaron Miles versus whoever he's playing against. I'm going to be right back myself. I just got to quickly make a quick adjustment on the camera. I'll be right back.
Oh, it looks like, yeah, someone bumped the camera. Yeah, no, I'm pretty excited. I was already talking with a couple different people, and the decks that I heard, none of them seemed like the straight meta decks that we've seen so far. So I feel like we might see some good diversity. Whether that diversity actually like fizzles its way into the top tiers, we'll wait and see. But we'll see. We're not in the player meeting right now. Everyone's still chatting about and waiting. Brandon. Brandon is not playing. That's why he's in the chat, being a loner. It's a little crooked. I heard, yes, there is. I know for sure one Freyla that's here. I think there's more than one Freyla, though. I could be wrong. I haven't read any of the chat, so I'm just looking at what's going on here. There's an anti-Gil Chamimi list there. That could be interesting. Chamimi is one I always forget about, but it's a decent deck. Chamimi runs real well, but for some reason we just don't see too much of it. I think we'll definitely be seeing more of it after the new set comes out. But, I guess that still depends on the remainder cards. But I'd be pretty excited to see a Chamimi, especially a Chamimi if it specifically going against a Gil, how it goes against that. Or other green. I guess Hanzo usually isn't green, but Chamimi would be cool to see. I want to see more rulers from before New Valhalla. That would be cool to see. Like someone had mentioned, Freyla. Freyla would be interesting because we never saw that one hardly ever. But any of the rulers from pre-New Valhalla. Is there any event on the West Coast? Not that I'm aware of. We have Pennsylvania next month. And is that the last GP, or is there one more? So, someone remind me if there's one more. But usually West Coast has been getting slightly overlooked, unfortunately. I'll ask Jeremy that question when it comes back, Anthony. But what deck would we play in this tourney? Me? I've been, obviously, my go-to is Pandas, but I actually have been playing with Machines a bit, and I like that as well. So one of those. Anthony asked, what deck would you play if you were in this tournament?
Ooh, if I was in this tournament, I'd play Gil.
Ooh.
I've been playing that deck for like the past 3 weeks, and I also just have a lot of experience on that deck prior to this. It's a ton of fun. I feel like I'm a good enough player that I can like make minimal play mistakes that are necessary with Gil, and just the impact that deck can have is just, ugh. Gross.
Ever since Gil came out, people always overlook how good that is.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I think it's because the skill level is so high, people just brush it aside. But Gil is like ridiculously good.
Yeah, the other thing is I really like the way they're playing right now with the higher elemental package. So like Assassin with playing Assassin, playing the Windblade, playing over Ultra Awakening, as much as I love Ultra Awakening, but like playing Windblade over that as a one of elemental, and then also playing the Leaf Fairy, particularly because you just have more leaves. So like the thing that Gil used to struggle a lot against is go wide decks, right? Because you're just like, well, I can't answer everything. But with access to Windblade and Assassin, and also particularly like Leaf Fairy being able to block your flyers while also flooding your deck with a lot more elementals, Gil nowadays can actually just keep up with board presence. Sure, you're not necessarily killing with those cards, but like you absolutely can keep up.
Well, and it's also a diverse sort of pool to pull from as far as the different leaves-based stuff and all that. So you're not just like dropping a bunch of 2/2s that happen to have the elemental name in it. You have different stats. You have stuff that has flying potentially and not, things that have enter effects, things with inheritance. Like there's such a pool to pull from that helps you counter a lot of the different decks that you might encounter. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And the sideboard package is really, really good. A lot of the guild decks typically are playing this like 20 stone lineup. So it's like 1 black stone, 4 saintly elven stones, because why not? Because it's also a wind magic stone, and then 15 wind magic stones. But a lot of the guild players are like sideboarding the 1 white stone. And so they're like, if they're playing against like an IU deck, if they're playing against a deck like Imul or anything that has Imperishable, they're playing that to be able to go grab Separation of Fates from the sideboard, as well as like sealing the Gate of Darkness to be able to deal with Gene.
Yeah.
So like, and Gil can just be like, oh, so sometimes when you're playing against Gil, you just hit the nuts and you go turn 1. Where is it here? I'm trying to find it. I know I have it in here. Maybe I don't. There it is, first card. So, like, certain times that you're playing the Gil and you're on the play, and you just go turn 1, pitch White Leaf, gain 6 life, banish, cast Spiritual Guidance, get the stone you need. And you're just like, well, cool, I was on the play, and now I'm at 2 stones when you're at 2. Like, sometimes you just hit that, and there's so much advantage that comes for Gil out of hitting that turn 1. So, it'll be interesting. That's why I like it so much. And Spiritual Guidance is just like, once you've flipped Gil, sometimes you're just like, yeah, okay, Spiritual Guidance, go get a stone. Like, banish a single elemental, go get a stone, right?
Yeah.
Which helps, also keep Gil safe, because you don't have to be playing, calling stones with Gil. Now, moving out of this format, I think Gil is going to have to put himself at a little bit higher effort because of that new Chamimi Master rune.
I was about to say, I think the other green decks might start to slowly outclass him now due to it seems like a power level burst is about to happen.
Just because that card doesn't have to worry about targeting. So you're just like, I'm going to go ahead and tap Gil and kill him now. And arguably, the deck does play the green-black Gil, the flying one, but ultimately, in my mind, like, you need Gil on the front side, or on the back side, to be able to really win the game. Like, this guy can deal damage, sure, but, like, Gil is what actually keeps the deck going, and Gil Lapis is just like a finishing card. So
yeah,
if your deck runs out of steam and all you're banking on is just a Gil Lapis, like, sometimes you'll still win, but ultimately sometimes you're just like, well, that was fun. I had a good time there.
Yeah. No, that choosing blocking card is going to be a big game changer, because it affects every deck you're going to play against. So all decks are now going to have to figure out a way to play around that. You can't just flood your field and be able to take punches to the face, knowing that you'll be able to block them later on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be the big trick.
Yeah, I hope Will's here, right?
Will, yeah. Rogues Guild is here. They brought 6 of their members.
Is Will going to bubble? We're going to have to keep track of that.
So, yeah, we got to keep track of whether or not Will can break the curse. Andrew! Hey, buddy. What are you playing today? Yeah. Hanzo. Pretty, like, traditional, diversity Hanzo? Traditional. Sweet. Okay, so pretty traditional. That's the thing that I want to see about Hanzo players, is whether or not they're going to stick to, like, just pure green or try to risk the, like, blue splash. Because it can be very effective. That can be very effective. But we'll have to see. Oh, a lot of Gils. I was surprised that there would be a lot of Gils, but a lot of Lucifers I'm not surprised by.
And I feel like Lucifer is probably also just a fan favorite type thing.
No. We said we're going to keep track of you so that we can see if you bubbled on stream. The stream wants to know if you're actually playing Gil today.
We're going to do a bubble watch.
And that's not even who's asking. Nope. Someone else is asking if you're actually playing Gil today. Are you? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Will confirmed. Can confirm from Will himself. Will is on Gil today, so we'll see.
We'll check in with the bubble watch every couple rounds.
If we saw all the main decks in this tournament, which do you think would win based on my experience? Oof. So again, in a vacuum, the decks that I would expect to do really, really well here are some form of Lucifer, Gil, or Keurig. The thing is, Gil, as it stands right now, has the best green mirror. So, like, if you put, like, Hanzo Chamimi versus Gil, like, Gil has a pretty good edge in those mirrors, right?
Yeah.
In terms of, like, green v green. Gil, and again, the new take on Gil, I think, can pretty decently answer Keurig. Gil is just also really good at, like, taking out rogue stuff. Because, like, unless the rogue stuff is, like, super hard spiked to go against Gil's just like, oh, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and you're just going to lose.
Yeah, because decks that passively have counters in them are able to pretty much, because no deck, very rarely are you going to have a rogue deck that is able to outdo something that counters just your basic play styles, of the game. So it's just a passive thing that Gil does of being able to counter those rogue decks unless they have a specific strategy for that. But
yeah. Keurig, I think, just has that explosive potential, right? So like a player who is good on Keurig can just win the games, can just absolutely push through, and the deck has been very resilient, and it has evolved, and it's
surprisingly. But I'm wondering if we could also have a case today of everyone thinks Keurig is going to be a big thing, so not a lot of people bring Keurig, and a lot of people bring counters to Keurig.
Yeah,
which
we'll
will
have
be
to see
interesting
if it got hated out of the meta.
Yeah,
Lucifer, I think, definitely has a lot of game. It can struggle against Gil simply because Gil can get recursion, but a lot of the Lucifer players have started sideboarding and even mainboarding some tech to get around Gil to like actually kill him. So it's a matter of if that can work out in their favor.
Yeah,
and they got to watch out for Keurig.
I have high hopes for Lucifer making it. Doing pretty well today.
Some people are saying that there's machines. I've seen some machine decks out there. I definitely think that if there was a matchup right now that's difficult for Gil, it is a well-curving machine deck. Like if a machine deck can curve really well and get ahead, and get one mystery box, 2 mystery boxes resolved against Gil, Gil's just like, okay, this is a lot of stuff. Well, it's not unwinnable for Gil. Oh, yeah. And ultimately the first 5 or 6 turns are still going to be back and forth either way, player's way. But strangely enough, if the machine player can curve out effectively into a mystery box, it can be really hard for Gil to keep up.
Well, and because machines have a unique ability to not only populate and make you have a good field presence, but also control your opponent's field.
Absolutely.
So as long as you're able to keep them under control and not lose your field by turn 7 when you get that mystery box, you basically just create a huge snowball effect. If it's sort of a back and forth, the mystery box might all it does is just get you back into the game at that point. But if you have a solid, tight deck list, those first 6 turns should be you keeping just everything under control, waiting to pop that off.
Jeremy, I should try to show the anti-Gil Chamimi deck that's there if they play against a Gil player. Well, I don't know who's playing anti-Gil Chamimi, so if you can tell me who that is, then I can...
Yeah, it looks like... I guess are we running a little bit behind? I don't know what the timeline was supposed to be. I was trying to figure out what the timeline was supposed to be. I thought it started at 10, but is it at 11?
It's supposed to start at... Oh, that's right. Yes, it's supposed to start at 11. I don't... My brain. Wait, hold on. What time is it currently? It's 10:30. We went live at 11. Okay, you know what? It is? I'm thinking, oh, it was 11. We started... But we started at 11 Eastern.
Oh.
We started the stream at 11 Eastern. The event starts at 11 Central. So here's what's going to happen. So we're going to talk about this. So Xavier. Okay, so I'll look out for Xavier. Thank you very much, Zach Smith. Colin and I are going to go. We're going to be back in a little bit. Jeez Louise. Clearly, I need to go wake up.
I was thinking about that. I was like, maybe I just misread what was.
No, you were absolutely right. Hold on.
Is this the tape they brought you?
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to use this.
Go right ahead. So it looks like Landon is about to put up player meeting. So we'll have the player meeting, and then we'll be jumping in with Aaron Miles in his round 1. It should be about 10 to 15 minutes.
Got you guys nice and warmed up.
Yeah, we're going to give ourselves a little 15-minute break here, get some water, and we will be right back. So thank you guys so much. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back in just a little bit.